What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. So right now I'm about to get into this Before They Were Famous featuring Wack 100. So let's get to it.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack.
This nigga been listening to Tory Lanez. That's where he got that from. That Tory Lanez
doesn't even
record.
like to smile, whack. Me, I'm tight as well, YouTube censorship. Wack 100, let's go.
Birdman and got on my ass. He told me how dissatisfied he is.
Power.
I love you, you my brother. I'm never going against you. But God damn it, just the way I feel. He said who you are and what you stand for and what you represent is greater and bigger than that.
The man known as Wack 100 has built himself something of a hip-hop empire for himself over the span of nearly 20 years in the business. A feat that's more impressive when you take into consideration the fact that a majority of his headlines often involve Wack 100 laying hands on someone or at the very least threatening to do so. I mean, just ask 21 Savage, Stitches, or J-Rock, all of whom have at least one story to tell about the man's wicked temper. Then there are his outspoken opinions on deceased rappers like Tupac and Nipsey Hussle. But here's the thing, unlike most other rappers or wannabes, Wack 100 has done his time to earn the street cred. I'll look back on his history in this newest episode of Before They Were Famous, and we'll tell you all about it. Wack 100 was born Cash Jones on April 7th, 1978 in Pacoima, California. For those of you who
makes sense, Aries. Aries is, you know, that fire sign. You know, fire is representative of passion and whatnot. So
aren't familiar with that part of the country, it's the area of LA country that's run by the Piru Bloods gang, a group that has been active since the 1980s and is reported to have a brutal reputation for violence and homicide. It was this very gang that a young Cash Jones became affiliated with, and while just still being a teenager, a decision that would come to shape his life for better and for worse. For instance, by 1992, Cash was only 15 years old, but already an inmate serving time at Fred C. Newell's Youth Correction Facility in Whittier, California. Prior to serving this sentence, Cash met the woman that he would wind up spending the next 30 years of his life with, Kimberly Jones. From that point on, Kim would faithfully visit her new boyfriend during his stay at the correctional facility, as well as other sentences that are still yet to come. By the following year, Cash had returned home and immediately hit the streets once more to provide for his family. Unfortunately, at 18 years old, he would find himself
the yoked up pictures. That's how everybody used to be up in there. You know, they got them yoked up pictures.
Locked up once again, being old enough to be tried as an adult.
That's all you got time to do.
On his way to state prison instead of just a juvenile detention center.
They sentenced me to state prison, but everybody asking everybody where they from. So at that point in time, you know, blood is outnumbered everywhere you go.
Right.
But I'm a YA baby, so I'm a firecracker, right?
Right.
So I jump up, tell them where I'm from. I'm the only one in there from the red side, right?
Right.
So, you know, at that point, they go to, we got us one.
Wack would wind up serving about 4.5 years and wouldn't get out until he was 22. When he returned home this time, it was to Kim and his newborn son, Devin, who Cash's prison sentence had kept him away from for the first few years of his life. With his baby boy in his arms, Cash promised Devin that he would never leave him again. Sadly, that wouldn't turn out to be the case, as Cash would serve a further 9 months for parole violation only weeks after returning home in the first place. But once Cash walked out of prison a free man in 1999, he finally kept his promise to his son. Now when people ask him about his past and why he's finally abandoned the street life, he tells them it's because he knows all too well now the cost that prison takes from you. Rather than dedicate his life to a revolving door of jail sentences, Cash Jones reinvented himself as hip-hop manager extraordinaire Wack 100. One of his first big clients was none other than West Coast rapper The Game, who we have covered and done a Where They Now on as well. Early on in his career, The Game was managed by Jimmy Henchman, but wasn't always getting the best advice from his right-hand man. In fact, Jimmy helped instigate the infamous G-Unit beef between The Game and 50 Cent in the mid-2000s.
Yep, and that's why Game and 50 really fell out, because of his connection to Henchman. But they spoken since then, and it wasn't really nothing crazy. So a Game and 50 versus that'd be crazy. I think that's the only person he'll probably do a versus with, because it makes the most sense.
Situation where it was teacher and student, and I think out of the whole G-Unit crew, Game was a teacher in the making, and then 50, he run his shit with an iron fist. So I think it was a clash going on, and before 50 kind of realized it, Game kind of seen that this is gonna restrict me.
Eventually, however, Jimmy would find himself incarcerated for unrelated drug charges. Around the same time, the Game hooked up with Wack 100, who, sensing an opportunity, quickly set to work making peace between the two high-profile rappers. Wack got both men in the same room, and before long, the two were whispering and giggling with one another. Soon after, Wack 100 was now the acting manager of the Game. A few years later, he'd also begin to represent up-and-coming rapper Blueface.
Everybody, I wanted some money.
So you just followed the bag.
Unless they was paying me. Yeah, hell yeah, I don't give a what you talking about if you ain't paying me.
For a while, Wack 100 simply sat behind and successfully managed two of the biggest rappers in the world. Okay, one of the biggest rappers in the world, and also Blueface. But the more and more involved he
Bro, you can make it less obvious that you're reading off a teleprompter. God damn.
got in the music industry, the more his ambition grew. Then a few years ago, in 2018, he reached out to proprietor of Cash Money Records, Birdman, to create a new imprint.
They dumb for that.
You might know Cash Money Records as the label that helped launch the careers of Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and Drake, but now Wack 100 is heading up a $20 million developmental budget acquired from Universal Music Group to shepherd the
Savvy Third from Long Beach. That's where I'm from. He gonna be getting out soon, and I'm pretty sure we gonna be getting some music.
next generation of West Coast talent. But as much as Wack 100 is well regarded and respected for his work in the music industry, what makes him a legend is the litany of beefs he's been involved with over the years. And I mean, where to start?
A lot of those beefs is bullshit and people clout chasing.
How about when he was asked to discuss what might have led to Tupac's death, and his response was along the lines of stupid decisions.
If Tupac would allowed those power rules, you had it.
He's right about that. Pac didn't have no business involving himself in that whole melee. He's the bread, he's the bag. You're supposed to protect the bag. You don't let the bag go out and crash. It's like a similar situation with Tekashi. Y'all knew Tekashi was the bag. Y'all involved him in stuff he shouldn't have been involved in, and then that's why the whole thing blew up. Also, that in combination with the internal beefing, too.
Everything from Suge to Buntry, everybody was there that can call that shot, right? So they're familiar with who this guy is, right? But you know what? They know they in a hotel. Suge's on a 9-year joint suspension. That decision to kick that fight off, right? I stand behind this, was on the decision of those power rules and the homies.
The comment would get him into some hot water with a whole bunch of people, but those rumors about Mike Tyson allegedly knocking him out afterwards
Yeah, that was
were nothing more than a stunt drummed up from Graham. Then
Wack is a troll too. He be trolling.
His comments about the death of Nipsey Hussle, after suggesting that Nipsey wasn't a true legend because he wasn't around long enough to create a legacy for himself. People in the hip-hop community were up in arms. Of course, that didn't keep Wack from continually voicing his thoughts on the matter, and even going so far as to suggest that Nipsey got what was coming to him.
Let's keep it real. If Dr. Dre right now died, we would say we lost a legend, right?
Yes.
Wait, based upon what?
His music.
Numbers, body of work. How many albums did Nipsey drop? One album.
That comment in particular would lead to Nipsey Hussle's former affiliate and security member J-Rock attacking Wack 100 at Rolling Loud in Los Angeles. He punched Wack a few times in the face and then took off. An angry Wack would have to be held back from retaliating. Then, just this past August, Wack got into it with 21 Savage after appearing on the social app Clubhouse. The fight began.
Yeah, which that situation with 21, that was instigated by some bullshit and they squashed that, so that's pretty much nothing.
When 21 Savage accused Wack of being lame for appearing with 6ix9ine on the debut episode of Academic's Off the Record podcast. Wack didn't take kindly to Savage's diss and went all in on him, chewing him up and spitting him out. So much so that all 21 Savage could say back was, say less.
Hey, wait. 21. Respectfully, nephew, I know you. We always been solid. I'm gonna keep it real.
Nah, you just said a whole bunch of extra shit.
Hey,
so that ain't
we are
solid.
not the same. Look, 21.
I don't know, I guess
21, listen to me, nephew.
9 friends now.
Listen to me.
Now Wack 100 claims he's got $43 million worth of business to do with Tekashi 6ix9ine, and that famous snitch is planning his next move alongside Wack's help. In other words, Wack just found himself his newest talent. Man, with Tekashi 6ix9ine and Wack 100 on the same team, I can only imagine the litany of beefs we're about to endure. Speaking of,
But as you can see, since they've been linked together, you see 6ix9ine ain't as off the chain as he used to be. Yeah, that shows you the difference in terms of who you have around you. He's not as crazy as he was before. He didn't chilled out.
Before we head out, it might be worth mentioning that the newest headline involving Wack 100 revolves around the existence of a potential sequel to the Kim Kardashian and Ray J home video. In fact, Wack 100 has gone as far to say that not only does the tape exist, but that he owns it. Is there any credence to this rumor? And with all the fights he's constantly getting himself into, is Wack 100 really done serving time for good?
I saw the little
Those are all
snippet.
questions for another day. After all, this is before they were famous. My name is Clyde Smith, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys another time.
This was cool though. I just think that he's a misunderstood individual. He do like to troll a lot. Nobody's scared of that man. Well, if that person was in front of you, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't say that. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see. I mean, I fucks with Nipsey, but Wack has a relevant point, though. I agree. Yeah, in terms of music, Nipsey wasn't a legend because he didn't have enough time to put in, you know, what he needed to put in. If he would have, you know, remained alive and give him, you know, 10 more years, then possibly. But in terms of his involvement in his neighborhood and whatnot, that made him a legend there. But in terms of music, you know, society oftentimes likes to call people legends just because they died, when that's not really true. Yeah, this was pretty cool. But anyways, that's gonna pretty much do it for this reaction. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Before you go, be sure to drop a like, a comment, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. And until the next one, peace.
ImCaliKidOfficial.